Come to standing and lift and roll your shoulders. This opens the gateways going up into the head, so it serves a very valuable purpose. Breathing in as you turn your head to the left, breathing out as you turn to the right, into the left and out to the right, into the left and out to the right. Come back to the centre. Breathing in, raise your right arm, snake it up, stretch it up, press your feet down. Turn your head to the left. Take an in and an out breath. When you're ready, bring your head back to centre and breathing out, lower your right arm. Breathing in, snake your left arm up. It makes the movement easier on the shoulders. Stretch up, press your foot down. Breathe out. When you're ready, turn to look to the right. Stay here for a breath. And when you're ready, bring your head back to centre. And breathing out, lower your arm back down alongside you. Lift and roll your shoulders. And clasp your hands behind your back, aiming your knuckles to the ground, opening out your shoulders. Lift your hands away from your bottom a little bit and go to the left. Turn to the left, come to the centre and then turn to the right. Come to the centre, release your hold and lift and roll your shoulders. And then breathing in, raise the right arm up to the right. Breathing out, hand on the left thigh, just come over. So the right hand comes over to the left, bounce in and out. Breathing in, stretching up. A lateral stretch is one of the essential back movements as we go to the left hand, stretching it up. And it also opens the intercostal muscles connected with breathing. And just bouncing out. Breathing in, come up and then lower your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. Breathing in, raise both hands up. Clasp your palms and reverse them upwards. Turn slightly to the left. You can bounce in and out. Come to the centre and then just turn slightly to the other side. And come to the centre. Lower your hands and place your hands on your waist, opening up the lungs again, opening up the shoulder area, and just test your balance by lifting your heels. And then if you're able to, but not if you don't worry if you can't, just lower your heels so that they're a millimetre off the ground. So you put your weight into the heels and then lower your heels. And then just release and relax your shoulders, lifting and rolling them. Bring your right fingertips to the collarbone. So this is a shoulder movement. Circle the elbow forward. The left hand can just hold the thigh. Sometimes when you do an asymmetrical exercise, in other words, one side at a time, it can increase the range of movement over and above what you might be able to achieve if you did it one shoulder at a time, both shoulders at a time. And then reverse your elbow. So this is obviously moving the upper arm bone and the shoulder socket, and then just release your arm. Lift and roll your shoulders. Lift the right hand up and just very lightly place by your ear. No pressure here. I'm just using my middle finger. Chin tucks in and just opening out along this side. In and out. Breathing in, bring your head up to centre and lower your arm. And then, of course, just bring your left hand to your left collarbone, fingertips, and just circle the elbow. The circles are of your choosing, so a little bit or a lot. And then gently circle in the other direction. And then just release your hand. Lift the left hand again, just placing it over by the right ear. Just tuck your chin in so that the neck is long and come over to the other side. It's a way of opening out here. In fact, you can even bring your other hand here or just hold on to your thigh. And then breathing in, raise your head upwards. Lift and roll your shoulders again. And once more turn your head from side to side. Bring your head back to centre, thumbs together, raise up and just gently sway from side to side. It's called swaying palm tree, and you'll find this in Ayurveda. So it's a balancing movement for the Vata dosha, but Vata is responsible for any pain, so this is very balancing for pain relief, as well as hugging your knees into your chest. And then come to the centre. Circle your wrists down and then open your fingers and just curl them in. You can flip your fingers a couple of times and then release. Breathing in, circling the hands up, palms meet in the centre, and then bring your hands back down through the centre. And then circling your hands up again, palms together, come through. As you bring your hands to the heart centre, just press the palms together, which is very good and excellent for the underarm sort of bat wing aspect, and then just release if anyone has that. And then once more, raise your hands up, touch through the palms at the top, bring them through the centre, but this time bend your knees and roll down to touch your fingers either to the shins or to the floor, wherever you choose. Then a flat back, lengthening along the spine. Breathing out, soften your knees, press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And then again, circling the arms up, touching the palms, come through the centre, bending your knees, bending your elbows, touching the palms either on the floor or on your shins. Inhaling, lengthening along your back, breathing out, bending your knees, pressing your feet into the ground and rolling up vertebra by vertebra. And we'll do this a couple more times. This is a very slow version of something we find in Kundalini yoga. It's warming the spine, touching the hands to the ground or to the shins as you lengthen and flatten the back. And then bend your knees, pressing your feet down, rolling up. Which is moving through the aura, it's cleansing the magnetic field, but this is a slowed down version of this. Hands up and breathing out. Bending once more, coming back down through. Touching either the floor or the shins, lengthening along the back, breathing out, bending the knees, pressing your feet down, rolling up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And lift and roll your shoulders. Just gently sway from side to side, moving all 5 energies. Apana energy goes from the foundational energy from the hips down to the ground. Samana is the next one up, which is the side-to-side movement that we're making here, but actually we're moving all energies. And that governs the digestive part of our functioning. You've got prana, which is the energy associated with breath and the energy circulating the body. Vyana is also very fluid in its movement, more to do with joints. You've got Udana, which is the upward movement from the throat, just side to side. Here, if you lift your heels, you're balancing your hips as well as your brain hemispheres, as the body is adjusting to the side-to-side movement. And then gently start to slow it down. and come to standing, lift and roll your shoulders. So we're going to carry on with the asymmetrical theme. Just bring your left foot a little bit forward. It can be out towards the edge of the mat if you want to balance your right foot to a like 45 degree. And just place your left hand on your waist. Breathing in, you can snake your hand up, stretching up almost into a back bend, and the choice is to look ahead or slightly up, depending where your neck is. And breathing out as you bend your left knee, coming forward, lengthening along your back and touching your right hand to the floor. If it doesn't go to the floor, then touch the shin of your left leg. Pressing down with your foot as you roll up and raising your hand up. We're going to do this a few times, stretching up, breathing out. I'm bending my elbow in to accommodate me to come forward, but in classic yoga you wouldn't do that. You would just pressing your foot down. You would keep everything straight, but I think that's a greater strain on the back. So in classic yoga you would literally bend over like this and then perhaps soften your knee to come forward, but in this yoga I'm offering the option of both bending the knee and bending the elbow. And then make the next one the last one. Rolling up, lifting and rolling your shoulders. And for the shoulders, just come into cactus arms, soften your front knee. So this becomes a modified warrior. Breathing in, straighten your left leg, arms up. Breathing out, softening back into cactus arms again. And one more time, stretching the arms up, cactus arms, and then just release. Step your left foot back. And just sway from side to side a couple of times before coming to step forward with your right foot. Again, choose if you need to bring your right foot out towards the edge of the mat to balance. The left foot's 45 degrees. And then your right hand on your right waist. Breathing in, snaking your left hand up. Breathing out, either softening your knee or coming straight over. I'd suggest perhaps softening the knee for a softer descent, touching the fingers to the ground. Just remember to relax your head and then pressing down on your feet, but remember to keep the weight into your back foot as well, support you as you come up. Stretching up, coming forward, so lengthening your spine, and then coming forward, softening your knee or not, coming up. Coming forward. And then just lower your hand back down. Come to cactus arms. Soften your front right knee. Breathing in, hands stretch up, straighten your leg. Breathing out, soften your arms back into cactus. And breathing in, straighten your arms up. And breathing out, lower your arms. Step your right foot back and just gently sway from side to side. So this is a form of traditional yoga, and in this particular series, I mean actually, strangely enough, it's almost, yes, very traditional yoga. I was going to say Ashtanga, but it's not quite, but slowed down. Come to lift and roll your shoulders, and then come to lying on the mat. The yoga very clearly likes to have pauses or rests in between any movement to allow the body to recover, because if you push on, you can kind of burn out your energy, which is tiring. And then come to lie on the ground. Stretch your feet out in almost like Shavasana, although we won't be in Shavasana. Just extend both heels and then let them relax and go. Palms are down alongside you. And just roll your head from side to side, just loosening off the neck and the shoulder, just in case we've accumulated any tension in the neck. Bringing the head back to centre. Extend your right heel and raise, snaking your right arm up behind you, just letting the back of the right hand touch on the ground. Stretch out. And then breathing out, turn your head to the left as we did when we were standing up. Bring your head back to centre. And breathing out, lower your right arm and just release and relax the right leg and the right arm back onto the ground. Extend your left heel and snake your left arm up. It can bend at the elbows, stretching it out behind you. Breathing out, turn your head to the right, away from the left arm. When you're ready, bring your head back to the centre and breathing out, lower your left arm and just release and relax your left leg. And then just circle both ankles in one direction. And circle both ankles in the other direction. Bend the right knee and place the right foot on the ground. Bend the left knee and hug the left knee into the chest. If you can, we can either do a circle of 8, or the invitation is to do a circle, or you can do a figure of 8 with your left knee, holding your left knee. And the figure of 8, if you choose that, can be horizontal figure of 8, or it can be a vertical figure of 8, which I find harder. Or if that's all too confusing, just circle your left knee in one direction. So it's a way of moving the thigh bone in the hip socket. And then whatever you've done, either reverse your circle or reverse your 8. And just notice the patterns that we form reflect our brain patterns. So I'm definitely skewed on one of my reverse 8. I find I can just get muddled or revert back to the original 8. And then hugging the knee into the chest, raise the left leg up to the ceiling and extend the left heel and point the left toes a couple of times. If you want an abdominal stretch in here, then you can walk the hands, this is an option, up the back of the left leg. So that brings the left leg towards you. And again, options, you can either bring your right hand behind your head and neck to support it, and breathing out, lift your head and neck up. Or if you're very strong, and that doesn't bother you, just hold your leg and lift up towards your leg, either option. And then breathing out, lower your head to the ground. You'll know you've gone too far because your tummy will dome, and that's a no-no. So only go as far as you can without doming your tummy. And then bend your left knee into your chest, open the knee out to the left and place your left ankle on top of your right leg. Hands can either be on your abdomen or palms down, as you sway both knees from side to side. And the sway can really be quite a lot, to the point that you literally drop the knees almost to the ground. Take an in and an out breath. And then you can almost drop the knees to the other side. Bring them back to centre. And now you might like to cross your left leg totally over your right, if that's available to you. And let both knees drift to one side. It doesn't matter because we're going to do both sides. Your other hip will lift off the ground. You can further increase this by opening your arms out like a tree horizontally. So you're stretching under the arms, palms down or up, and if that's too much and too much of a stretch, then just lower your arms to an A so that it's not quite so strong. And if you're really not enjoying opening under your arms, then just place your hands on your waist or your tummy. And then bring both knees upright as you come to the other side, just swaying both knees over to the other side. Your other hip will lift, hands where they're comfortable. Another option is to, if your knees say are going to the left, then raise your right arm diagonally upwards towards the edge of the mat. And then your other hand can just rest on your abdomen or wherever your hand falls. That's another option. So many options. And then very gently tummy in to engage your core to support the knees coming up. Uncross your left leg. Lower your arms if they're up and out. Hands either on your tummy or on the floor, just to roll both knees from side to side. Bring your knees back to the centre and then hug the right knee into the chest. And again, holding the right knee, either do a circle or a figure of 8, horizontally or vertically. It's a simple movement of the knee, of the thigh bone into the hip socket. And very gently extend your right leg up to the ceiling by holding and supporting it with your hands clasped underneath. Extend your right heel and point your right toes a couple of times, just boosting the circulation. And then slide your hands up the back of your right leg to wherever feels good for you. Your chin, try and keep the back of the neck long, chin not shooting up to the ceiling. And then the option is to either stay where you are or lift your head up towards your leg, or you can also drop your hand behind your head and neck, supporting you to lift up your head and neck so that there's no neck strain. This is brilliant for sciatica as well, by the way, this stretching your leg up and then just relaxing as you bring your head back to the ground. Bend your right knee in towards you and open the right knee to the right ankle on top of the left leg. Hands either palms down or on the abdomen as you just sway both knees from side to side. It's massaging across the top of your bottom, but it's also just relieving onto an acupressure point as well. Your hip will lift. And then you can just let both knees gently rock to one side. Your hip will really lift off. Your head can look up or look to the side. Eyes can be open or closed. Tummy in as you bring both knees back upright and then let both knees drop to the other side. If you do this at home, you can always have a bolster for support under the legs. And then bring the knees upright and really cross your right leg over your left now and do the same again. Let both knees drop to one side. Your hip will lift. Your arms can be out at a T or at an A as an option. And one arm can additionally diagonally up behind you. Bring both knees back to the centre and both knees go over to the other side. So any form of rotation that this is realigns the spine because you're engaging and lengthening the muscles along one side of the spine, and then you do the same on the other side. Bring both knees back to the centre. Unravel your right leg. But when you do a rotation, it's always very nice to have a compensation in there somewhere along the line. So hug one knee into the chest and then the other knee into the chest to come into a forward bend even though we're on our backs. And this is the compensation. Just rock both knees from side to side. Then holding both knees in, Let both knees travel away from you to arm's length, hugging both knees in. And just do this a couple of times and you'll feel that you're just compressing and massaging along your lower spine right at that L4, L5 area, which is where all the heavy duty twisting and turning goes on. And so you're bringing fresh blood to that lower back area, and it's very soothing. And it is yet another Vata pacifying pose in Ayurveda. And Vata, out of balance, is the root of all pain. So anybody who's got any pain anywhere has a Vata imbalance at that particular moment. And the seat of Vata is at the lower abdominal area. So this knee to chest is very soothing for any kind of pain. And then while we're here, just hugging the knees in, slide your hands down to your ankles, just above your ankles, and your knees will open out to the side like a butterfly. Your big toes will sort of aim together, they won't necessarily touch, but it's just an inner groin opener in a supine Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose or butterfly pose. You can just slightly rock from side to side, you won't go very far, just a millimetre or two either side on your spine. And opening the groin opens up part of you've got a lot of lymph nodes in the lower part of the groin, so this opening up is very beneficial for space and boosting the immune system. And then placing the right foot down. Again, we're going to focus on the asymmetrical aspect of happy babies, but this is half happy baby. So take your left hand to the underneath of your left sole of the foot, half happy baby. Left sole of the foot up to the ceiling, left knee down towards the chest or the armpit, shoulder. And right hand can be resting on your right hip bone. And happy baby, again, you can stay static or just slightly rock from side to side. We're talking about millimetres. And then bend the left knee in, hug the left knee into the chest, and place the left foot on the floor as we go to the right side, half happy baby here, hug the right knee into the chest, right hand underneath the right sole of the foot, sole of the foot up to the ceiling, left hand on the left hip bone. And there's possibly a very subtle wobble. You can feel this opening and movement in the hip. And then gently hug the right knee into the chest and place the right foot on the floor. Hands up above you, elbows are bent. The right hand holds the left wrist, and you just slightly extend the left arm, which will mean that there's just a subtle stretch and move of maybe the left arm over towards the right. And then take your left hand to hold your right wrist, extend the right arm, and just pull the right arm, which will mean that there's a very subtle bend over towards the left, and then just come back to the centre. Hug one knee into the chest and then the other knee. And then hold behind the backs of the legs and come to raise both feet to the ceiling. You can clasp your hands if you want to. I quite like to do that, and just gently seaweed, so just make semicircles of your big toes, just subtly swaying from side to side as if you were a piece of seaweed in the water as it's just lapping to and fro. If you prefer to walk your hands up your legs and hold your big toes, depends on your flexibility, you can open your feet to a V and just again sway from side to side. This is optional. It's quite a nice stretch on the inside of your legs, which can often turn off when we're standing or walking. Women particularly, I don't quite know why. And then just very gently bend your knees into your just hug both knees into your chest, rock from side to side. So I'm going to try and explain this, but if I don't, apologies. Bring your right knee slightly in front of your left, and then make circles so your knees are going forwards and backwards and circling at the same time. I hope that makes sense. So it's the knees go forwards and backwards and then slightly circle, and then you can reverse it, of course, but it can get the mind into a muddle. It's part of the somatic movement training, and of course the brain's very much involved in the actual circulation here, because it kind of messes with your mind. And then just hug the knees into your chest. And taking time, we're going to come up onto kneeling. Hands and knees. And hands are shoulder width apart, knees are hip width apart, and just sway the bottom from side to side. If you imagine that you're a fish and you're looking down on top of a fish swimming in the water, the hip or the tail goes one way, then the fish kind of snakes around and turns its head the other way. So the whole of the backbone of the fish is involved in a kind of S bend. So emulating that is very helpful for opening the back in a kind of sideways curve. And then come to the centre, slide your right foot back, tuck your right toes under, and then very gently turn to look over your left shoulder at your right foot. And this will stretch your right side. Come back to the centre and lower your left knee, and then slide your left foot back, tucking your left toes under. This opens the lung meridians anyway in reflexology. And then turn to look over your right shoulder at your left foot. And then come back to the centre. And then some classic cat-cow, dipping your back, either looking up or along the mat. And breathing out, really press your feet down and round your back. Breathing in, dipping your back, and breathing out, rounding chin to chest. Dipping the back and rounding. And then dipping the back. And this time, as you round, chin to chest, slide your hands towards you so that you kneel up. And hands up. Stretch your fingers, your thumb comes towards you and your little thumb goes away. Breathing out, round your back, your hands come back down to the ground. In cat, dipping your back, rounding your back. You slide your hands back so that you kneel up. You can even walk your hands up your thighs, hands up, and breathing out. Lower. Dipping the back and rounding. Bring the big toes together, knees out, and come to a forward to child, but if you're not great on your knees, keep your bottom slightly high. So it's an extended forward child. As I said, you can keep your bottom high depending on your knee capacity. And then very gently sliding your hands back and coming into dipping your back again, rounding your back chin to chest, Bringing your bottom towards your heel. And then lifting up, but this time keep your hands on the ground. So you're almost coming to kneeling again. Dipping your back, rounding your back, bringing your bottom towards your heels. Your elbows perhaps bend slightly, stretching out and then just coming straight back to all fours as you dip your back, round your back and bring your bottom to your heels. Stretching out. Come back to tabletop. And then just turn your hands out to the edges of the mat and just see how far you can turn them. It's a wrist exercise. Your fingers might end up pointing behind you and then almost instantly turn your hands back around again and then turn them in so that the hands point. It's a way of strengthening the wrists and then just turn back and then come to a seated position, however works for you. I'm going to sit in a cross-legged position, but you could also sit with your legs out. Hands upturned on your knees. As you breathe in, open your left hand. As you breathe out, just let the fingers of the left hand touch gently or come towards each other. Breathing in, open the fingers of the right hand. And breathing out, let the fingers of the right hand just come to touch. In as you open the left hand, like a flower. Of course, in yoga, their flower of choice is a lotus. Close it as you breathe out. Breathing in, opening your hand. Breathing out as it closes. You can choose any flower. And just take a couple of breaths, opening your left hand flower. On the in breath, closing it as you breathe out. And then to the right. Just take a few more breaths in your own breath pattern. And then very gently come to finish your breathing. Place your hands wherever you feel comfortable. And breathing in, turn your head once more to the left. Breathing out, turn your head to the right. So we reconnect with the Kundalini breath movement. Breathing in as the head gently turns to the left. Breathing out as the head turns to the right. Breathing in to the left and breathing out to the right. And carry on. It becomes a mindfulness exercise because it's very hard to retain thoughts while your head is moving. Because your brain is being very slightly engaged with the left and the right with movement. The hemispheres are communicating with one another and the focus of the eyes is not able to settle in this particular instance, so it's a disconnect from the stress centers of the brain. And then very gently make the next one the last one. Come back to the center. Bring your focus to the entrance to the nostrils, and as you breathe in, breathing in to a point in the center of your head that you imagine to be the center, and then breathing out, just let all the air travel down inside and out, cleansing as it goes, leading through the soles of the feet. Again, reconnect the entrance to the nostrils as you breathe in, breathing out anything you don't want today. And you can choose a colour, optionally, and as you breathe in, you can breathe in the coloured air, symbolically swirling around and breathing out anything that you don't want today, leading through the soles of the feet. Just bring your chin to your chest. This lengthens the neck and it activates the vagus nerve. So it's calming for the nervous system. Just take an in and an out breath here. You can have your thought for the day, setting your intention for the day. And then let that go. And taking a bow for yourself. Thank you very much for joining me today.